Welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management, a weekly conversation with area leaders about how to persevere during uncertain times. Now here's your host, Gary Shorman.
Welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. Our program's brought to you by Worth Wealth Management. And today, we're talking about an event going on in Wilson, Kansas. We have a special guest with us that's heading that up, but I'm talking about the Czech Fest. It's coming up late in July. I think it's the 28th and 29th in the city of Wilson. Our guest today is Melinda Merrill. Melinda is the owner of the historic Midland Railroad Hotel and Barn. So a lot going on there. Melinda, good to have you on our program.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that.
Melinda, tell us just a little bit about the Czech Fest. What's the background of the Czech Fest?
Well, the Czech Fest is actually an after-harvest Czech Fest, and what happened, wheat harvest in this part of the country is so intense. And so after the wheat harvest is over and everybody's kind of resting, they'd have a big festival, and we have polka bands, we have now you have cornhole tournaments, we have all kinds of food. Everybody serves Czech food, and then we have food trucks and things like that. And then this year we are doing quite a bit more with the arts. So number one, we put 7 miniature eggs, Czech eggs around the town, and they were fading. So we actually pulled those out, and the Kansas Czechs are having them repainted, and then they come back on the 19th of July. So they will be here for that. And then Wilson Tourism Hub, of which I'm president, sponsored a Czech artist to come in from the Czech Republic, and he's doing some projects here in town. And then we have some other artists that are coming in that are doing a sculpture on the grounds of the hotel. And so we have there's more variety this year, I think. We have a parade. It's going to be a great time.
It just sounds to me, I had a chance to look, you have a great web page out there that allows you to go and take a look at all the different events that are coming up. There's a bunch of events going on. But tell me a little bit, Melinda, about yourself, because this program's about leadership. I know your family comes from the area, but what possessed you to come back and buy a hotel and build a barn and become head of tourism for the city and community of Wilson?
Well, I will say that my family has always taught me about philanthropy, but the truth is, when I was in education and I also was in the arts, and we needed someone to manage our farm back here. So I started coming back and forth from Colorado to manage the farm, which had been in the family since the mid 1800s. And then I ended up buying a house, and across from the house was the old grade school that they had turned into assisted living and really didn't work, but there was such a need for housing in this town. I went ahead and bought that. And then the hotel, just kind of tumbled. The hotel became available, and then we did a gift shop, because the people who come to the hotel needed some place to go to gift shop. And then we brought in the barn 2 years ago, which is actually used to be half a block from where it is right now. We brought that in and turned it into a conference center. And you know what? That has been monumental for getting new folks into Wilson.
Well, I've had a chance to spend a few times at special events. Not only do you do a wonderful job with those events, but the hotel, the barn, the other venues that you've helped create there, including things like making the Czech Fest even better, really puts the city and the community of Wilson on the map for some fun things. So if you happen to be driving through, your restaurant is great. You have a little bar area. You have some things down there that are really cool. But it does really get to the history of so much that takes place in that area. You mentioned art, and you see that people will talk about the giant egg, but there's the smaller eggs. There's other things going on. And tell us a little bit about the artist, because you have commissioned I assume that's what you say, commissioned an artist to come over and do some special artwork. What's going on there?
Well, so I've traveled to the Czech Republic not quite a bit, but a few times, and you kind of get the culture over there is so beautiful. There's a lot of music, there's a lot of art, and so at one point in time, it was my idea to combine a Kansas artist with a Czech artist and bridge that cultural identity that is in both communities. And so, interestingly enough, and this is why I love this hotel, I was sitting out by the fire pit one night, and a gentleman from Pennsylvania was there, and we were just talking, and I said, "Guys, I'd really like to do this. I'd like to bring a Czech artist over." And he goes, "Well," he said, "I'm a full-blooded Czech. I live in Pennsylvania, and my nephew runs a gallery. I can help you." And so what I thought was an impossible situation really turned out. So he sent me the resumes of a couple of different artists, and we are actually doing this with the Wilson Tourism Hub. We paid to have him come over. We are giving him a stipend. He's living in the apartments, and you kind of put yourself out there with that. And when he got in the car, I thought, well, this is either going to work or it's not, and we'll just give it the old 1-2. But he has been amazing. He, he does speak very good English, but you're all, when you're in a different country, you're always translating in your head. And he brought a vase that was the Czech motifs from his particular village where his grandmother was living, that type of thing. And so the first idea he had was to do this incredible mural. It happens to be on the back of a shed at Frankie Prince's, where I got the barn, but it's coming in from 232. And he designed it. And he's been out there painting it all week. He's finishing up he'll finish up Friday, and it is gorgeous. And at the bottom, it's going to say, "Welcome to Wilson." And I said, be sure and put the name of the village where those particular designs came from. And then after he gets done with that, and he started talking to me about this project before he even came over, he wanted to do a limestone table that was not a rectangle, so that with the concept that everyone would have a seat at the table, because the table is a different shape. So next week, he's going to be working on doing that, and John Pancost over at Blue Stem over at Lucas is going to help him with some of the tools and that type of thing. But he's going to do this massive limestone table out there, and then I think what we're going to do is start putting different types of stumps around it, so that people understand everybody gets to talk at the table. And I thought that was just an incredible idea to do. And then he's also doing his own work. I've seen some sketches, some watercolors, some acrylics that he's going to have available at the Czech Fest, which I think is kind of cool too.
Well, his name, and I hope I say this right, is Pavel Novotny, and he is doing this, and it's just another reason to go to Czech Fest. But you mentioned that big mural. It's been a little warm. I don't know if you've noticed that, Melinda, but it's been a little warm. How is he dealing with the weather and doing all that with his painting?
Well, amazingly enough, he's actually he's living in Prague right now. And he gets up early, goes and paints till about 1 o'clock, goes out to the lake and swims, and then comes back about 6 o'clock and goes till 9 o'clock. So really, really hard worker. I will tell you his background real quick. He has restored different cathedrals and stuff, but for the last 6 years, he's working with a film company, which I think this is just real. I don't think of Prague as a film city, but he's worked 6 years on these films, and he works with, he helps with the sets, he helps with the costuming. I mean, he works 10-hour days, 10-hour days, 10 months out of the year. And it's a great profession. And then he also, while he's in Prague, does some gallery shows, that type of thing. But I think it's really interesting that the film industry has become so prevalent in that part of the world.
Melinda, if Bavel was here, what would he tell us about Kansas, and specifically Wilson, Kansas? What would he say?
Well, I think he's really enjoyed the stillness of Wilson. You don't have a lot of bustling cars going around. You don't have public transportation. He's been able to go out to the lake every day and swim, and I think he really enjoys that lifestyle. I mean, I personally have been surprised how hard he's working. I didn't anticipate that, but he's just amazing. I mean, it's like he is has that creative juices flowing while he's here. He did go into Kansas City for the weekend, and spent the weekend with the Czech consulate there, and was able to go to the art galleries there, and spend the weekend with some of the Czech groups. And I think coming back here was kind of this is nice. I'm by myself again. I can think, I can create, all of that.
So the Czech Fest is taking place the end of this month, 28th, 29th, but you can stop by and actually see him doing some of his work. And is there a place to look at some of his artwork that he is creating that wouldn't be the giant mural, that if somebody wanted to take some artwork home, they could do that?
The mural is at Highway 232 and 26th as you turn into Wilson. He will, and then next week he's going to take the weekend off, but next week he'll be out there working on the table that he was talking about. And then he does not have any of his work available. It will be at the Czech Fest, but not till the Czech Fest.
Okay, Melinda, hold on just a second. We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to come back and then talk about the website where people can go to find out all about this. And we'll talk just a little bit more. Hold on just a second. Our guest today is Melinda Miller, who is a part of the Czech Fest, what's going on in Western Kansas, and it's a really unique program. So we're going to come back, and I say Melinda Merrill, thank you. And so we'll be back with her after this.
The most successful investors are those that can keep their emotions in check and take a longer-term view at what portfolios will be worth 3 to 5 years down the road. I'd say that's the most important in determining what investor outcomes are. Market corrections will continue in the future. We've seen many of them over the years, only to see equity prices rise higher, and that'll be the case in the future.
Worth Wealth Management, enhancing lives and strengthening families.
Welcome back to Forward Ever. Our guest, Melinda Merrill, who is not only head of the Wilson Economic Development and travel part for the city of Wilson, but she also runs the Railroad Hotel, the Midland Railroad Hotel and Barn there. And it is an historic hotel. And tell me about the hotel for just a second, because you took that over. How many rooms does it have? I know it's sold out. We just talked about that, sold out for the whole weekend of Czech Fest, but tell me just a little bit about the hotel.
Okay, let me say that I'm president of the Wilson Tourism Hub, not the Economic Development. So I just want to make sure.
All right, thank you.
So the hotel was built in 1899. We have 28 rooms, and in about 2001, a foundation took over and actually renovated the hotel. I bought it in 2014. And it's still, I mean, we do stuff, oh my gosh, all the time, but we have a gorgeous patio. We've worked really hard to have perennial beds out there. Unfortunately, usually we have something out there every weekend, but the weather has been either raining or so hot you couldn't do it. But the beds are still pretty, and we have chickens, and we have raised vegetable garden, and then we have the barn out there. We actually serve food 6 nights a week, every night but Monday, in the downstairs sample room. And then kind of a fun thing, and I don't know if you've been to one of these or not, we do wine dinners every other month, and those are just, we have such a great time. We bring in someone to help us with our wines, and we have a gourmet dinner. So we are really using the hotel for a lot of different things besides just the hotel, which I think is what makes it kind of a destination place. We did a partnership with Lovegrass last year, and that has been amazing because it's brought a whole different group of people here, and then they have their festival in the summertime. And so I see Wilson becoming more and more of a destination, long weekend, whatever the case may be. It's with the lake and the hotel people, and they ride bikes, and it's just kind of a place they can kick back.
You know what? You can fill up that barn pretty quick from what I've seen. So
Yes, we can. It's once, people start going in there. Well, and it's not a huge barn, and but we have the Kansas Wildlife out there today doing a meeting, and we have weddings coming up. Oh, actually, Humanities Kansas is going to do a weekend there. So you're right. It's become, people love this part of the country. I mean, they love Hayes as well as Wilson, but you have to have something there for them where they can stay, where they can eat. You have to have all that.
well, thank you for all your work doing that, Melinda. And tell us how can you find out more about the Czech Fest, what's going on? Where can you go online to find out?
I would go to the After Harvest Czech Fest has a website, and they have a Facebook. And on the on the Midland Railroad Hotel.com, we have the entire schedule for the weekend, also under our events. So you can go both places.
Well, it sounds like fun. The artwork's going to be spectacular. Hope
is.
the weather is just perfect for the weekend for you, Melinda. And if you're out there listening, get a chance to drive over. What a fantastic kind of day trip to go and not only see great artwork, but some of the wonderful history that we have in Western Kansas. Melinda, thanks for your work. Thanks for being on our program with us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Melinda Merrill, who is the owner of the historic Midland Railroad Hotel and Barn, has been our guest today on Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. It's brought to you by Worth Wealth Management, where you can live with confidence. I'm Gary Shorman.
Thanks for joining us for Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management. Join us right here next week for another episode with host Gary Shorman. Until then, remember to move forward ever, backward never.